Yes, welcome to Strange Darkness Radio. We are back, and I didn't really talk about it much on the last show, but that is our new intro. We're still filling it out, and you think the performance Vanessa's why okay, Vanessa, go ahead. Why are you laughing? It was
I
so
mean, I think
strong.
it's kind of corny, but
Although
it's like,
Brian, but she doesn't mean it that way. It's just
no, no, no.
probably
Like, I like it, but it's
okay.
very 90s, is what I'm
Go
saying. It
ahead, because
reminds
he's
me of the
going to be upset.
90s.
I don't want.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing wrong. It's very well produced, very well done. I'm just saying, it's
Yeah.
just, it reminds me like we're gonna be like heroes in some action.
Like
You
Power
know,
Rangers,
that's all.
Power Rangers, or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Something
But
like that, like as if we're gonna be doing something really drastic. And I'm like, I don't think I'm that cool, but thank you.
well, yeah, you see, you are. You just don't know it. But yeah. So we'll see how things go. But thank Brian and Amir for that intro, and we'll see how it goes. Amy, what do you think about the intro? You want to be
So
the
I
Yellow Ranger?
agree. I agree. It's very 90s sounding, but
For
I
sure.
actually really like it quite a bit. It's like very catchy and yeah, it does sound like a little superhero-ish like
Yeah.
Vanessa said, but I like it. I like it a
Okay.
lot.
It
We'll
also
Yeah.
made me
see.
think of Highlander, you know,
Oh,
like
I haven't
yeah.
seen Highlander in
I
ages,
used to
but
love
I
that
missed that.
show.
You know
So
what?
it's a
Thank
compliment
you.
to
I
Brian
gotta.
and Amir. I just have a genre in my head is when I hear music like that.
Yeah, you know what? I
Yeah.
gotta get the Highlander. But that's neither here nor there. This is a paranormal show, and again, I want to thank the listeners for listening to Strange Darkness Radio. And hey, tell us what you guys think of the intro, whether you like it or not. Hit us up on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. You can always email us at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com. We would always love to hear from you all. So, Vanessa, anything you want to share with the group? I know you had a very interesting couple of days or weeks, I should say.
well, well, I mean, I'm always having some UFO, UAP, whatever orb experience, but I had one in Austin, so that was cool. Also went to a metaphysical seminar that they do once a year in Austin. So we did like a seance and things like that, and we got to hold objects that were imbued with some energy or said to, right? And then like kind of see if we could pull information, which was really fun. And I was shocked how accurate I was. So that was really cool. And then, of course, the orbs, in which, if you guys want to check out on our Instagram, and it's also on my Instagram, the video, I put a little clip of some of the UAPs we got to see in Austin. So it was a fun time.
Yeah, and I love the video that you posted, and talking about your experience and showing at the end of that of these orbs. I think you need to do more of that because the public, you know, aren't aware of your experiences, and because we don't talk about it a lot, but they do happen quite often to you. And I think you have something going on, or somebody wanting to make contact.
Yeah, I mean, so if you guys are interested, please, go ahead and check it out. Let me know because I do have a lot of footage. I mean, even on my personal YouTube channel, I have dash cam footage of like a plasma ball just like hanging over my car. I am saying what's up to it because I'm one of those people. I think
Mhm.
too, it has to do with the fact that I'm not afraid, and I think that's why they know that, inherently. So, I mean, guys, get rid of your fear if you want to see them, I guess.
See that?
And yeah, and if you guys want to check out our Metaphysical U group too, I never mention it, but we do offer free classes every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central on Zoom. So you can go to metaphysicalu.com and check us out and come hang out. My mentor, Sarah Reeves, you've probably heard of her on the Night Owl podcast. So yeah, just putting that out there for everybody because I've never said it. So
Yeah,
welcome.
perfect. And Amy, what's been up? Anything happening for you in the paranormal realm or personal you
No,
want to share?
I don't have anything. I'm not as exciting as Vanessa is.
Yes, you are.
I
Stop
don't
it.
have anything to
That's
share
hilarious.
except for, my suburban tales.
Wow. What are
But
those?
I think Vanessa will be very interested to hear that me and Bobby had a brief conversation that we actually
Oh,
want to
yes.
try meditating because you called me out. I know you did.
I did it gently though. I mean, I was
They don't,
You
just
they don't
did,
know
and
about
that
that.
was
That was
okay.
me.
sorry.
Yeah.
You know me. I'm so blunt and honest. I can't.
Yeah, no, that was totally fine. And you're right. So I think we want to do like an experiment and meditate and see like if we can get something going.
Yes.
Maybe we'll have something exciting to talk about.
Awesome. Yes, please. I've been
Yes.
helping a lot of people, not even just like outside people. I mean, even people in my group. So you
Yeah.
guys are more than welcome. Any tips I can give you guys, I will do it.
It's going to be interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Excited. I'm gonna try it
Now,
again.
then you
and-
guys can bring in the UFOs too. That's part of it, you know.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'm very curious. But yeah. So on tonight's show, this is actually going to be a listener's show. Very interesting, right? So we have someone who's has stories and have heard the call out there. You guys, if you want to share your stories, you can hit us up at 916-741-3032, or you can email us at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com. So tonight we have something very, very special. And, I would say finally, but again, we do get people trickling in from time to time, but I think these stories are going to be very incredible and something for you all to try to understand what actually goes on in your homes and experiences that you all are having. And we want you to come on and share them because you never know who's experienced the same things and had the same encounters of things that you are all experiencing out there. So here we go.
You've heard the legends of investigators like Ed and Lorraine Warren, and you've listened to the stories that echo through books and films. But what about the ordinary homes, the quiet neighborhoods, where extraordinary things still unfold? Tonight, it isn't folklore, it isn't secondhand, it's lived experience. For Danny Coleman, the paranormal has never been a headline. It has been his reality. From childhood nights heavy with unseen presences to moments that left no logical escape, Danny has walked through hauntings that most would never believe, and now he speaks of them here in his own voice, with nothing between him and the truth. Please welcome Danny Coleman.
Danny, welcome to Strange Darkness Radio.
Hey guys, how are you?
We're doing
Danny.
Hey.
Can I get that applause track? Because I'm going to use that in a lot of facets of my life.
great. No, definitely.
I'm making my alarm clock so I wake up with a nice applause every morning.
It's a nice way to wake up. Yeah.
Exactly. So how are things? And also, tell us, how did you hear about the show and, wanted to come on and share your story?
Well, I saw I joined one of them Facebook groups, podcasters looking for guests, and that's where I stumbled upon you.
Perfect.
And I thought, my experiences over my lifetime are not something that I've spoken about on a regular basis unless people are asking or the conversation comes up. It's not like I go on social media and post, hey, I was visited by a poltergeist, applause track. That's not going to happen. I'm a pretty, I don't want to say private because I will talk, but I have to be prompted.
Mhm.
So a lot of the things that have gone on in my life or that have happened to me, and being I don't know if you follow the zodiac, but I'm a Cancer, so we kind of internalize a lot.
Yeah.
And so that's where we came to that. But I saw you and I thought, oh, there's somebody who wants to listen.
Awesome. Well, let us know about you. And again, I know you are a musician, and tell the people a little bit about you. Then we'll get into your stories on the beginning of all of this.
Well, I am I am a musician. I'm a retired United Parcel Service driver. I also worked 12 years in a hospital right up through the end of COVID and a year beyond. I was in charge of the ICU and ER supply chains during that time. I am also an entertainment journalist, and I host multiple radio programs. So, and my whole life, I've always loved music and began playing the drums at about the age 11. And before that, though, is when weird things started happening in my life. As a kid, I think we talked, as a kid, we had no baseball fields or anything like that. We had cemeteries in my neighborhood. And that's where they were our baseball field, our soccer field, our football field.
Wow.
So I spent a lot of time in cemeteries as a child. Whether that has anything to do with it or not, I don't know. But
Yeah.
now I'm retired, and I love every minute of it.
That's amazing.
Can I
And
ask you
mhm.
something, Danny? Like what state was this in? I'm always curious, like where, like cemeteries that you had to. Because I mean, I grew up in New York City, and I know space is limited, so you figured out where there was an alley that was big enough, to throw a ball at a wall or something like that. So I was curious what state that was in.
I grew up literally about 500 feet from the Trenton, New Jersey line. I grew up in Hamilton Township,
That makes so much more sense to me now. Okay,
right
thank
there
you.
in the
I was,
middle.
yeah, I was picturing
Yeah.
something like that, so I wanted to see if that's okay. Perfect. Thank you.
And I'm still in New Jersey now. So
Okay. All right.
still in
Cool.
Hamilton. Yep.
Cool. Cool.
Awesome. Well,
And
let us
still
know.
surrounded by, oh,
Oh,
sorry,
no, go
Bobby.
ahead. No, you're
I was
fine.
gonna say, are you still surrounded by nothing but cemeteries right now, or that was just when you were growing up?
At the moment, no, oh no, it's been my whole life.
Hmm.
At the moment, I'm not. I am, however, excuse me, living in a neighborhood where, let me take a drink.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
I am living in a neighborhood where about 30 years ago, right down the street, a guy decided to come in and kill his wife and kids with a gun.
Mm.
And nobody lasts in that house longer than a couple months before they sell.
Wow.
Really?
So it's
Oh,
never far from me, so to
Yeah.
speak, Amy, So
yeah.
Well, let's start from the beginning and tell us, when you were able to really pay attention and understand this was something different and the normal kids in the neighborhood weren't having these experiences.
well, for all I know, they may have.
Hmm.
I just never talked about it because I didn't want them to bust my chops. Oh, there's
Well,
Ghost
well,
Boy.
most of
Yeah,
this is not common,
right.
where when things cling on you or people are able to see certain things or have these feelings, it's to you it may seem common, but it's actually not common. And but yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, uh, when I grew up, I lived in a very basic neighborhood. I lived in a semi-attached house. I had a side yard, and my bedroom was in the back. And there were times at night I just never felt like I was alone. And it wasn't like the boogeyman was under my bed. It's just that I felt like there was somebody else with me. And I would, go to my parents and they'd be like, all right, just sit here for a minute. And then they'd ship me back off to bed. And there were times I would wake up in the middle of the night feeling like there were people standing over top of me, or I would sit straight up in bed. And I think I told you, Bobby, there was a digital clock on my bookshelf, and on my right hand side and over here was a closet that had a full length mirror. And I would sit up, and most times I could look uh, in that mirror and see the clock. But there were a lot of times I couldn't see the clock. Oh, what happened to my clock? And I'd
Yeah.
turn around and the clock's still lit, and I'd turn back and it's not in that mirror. So I tried explaining that, of course, parents being parents. Oh, you must have had a bad dream. It's okay. but that kind of stuff has followed me, and to this day, it still does throughout my life.
Yeah.
Where voices, and I don't mean kill, kill, kill. I mean voices
Yeah.
like where I'll be. It's almost as if I can hear them,
Hmm.
which has given me a sense of like a premonition, almost like a sixth sense, not only about events but about people
Hmm.
itself. And it's made me acutely aware of a lot of things. And I've dealt with that my whole life, but I really didn't come to grips with it till about 10 years ago,
Mm.
when I met the first of now several mediums that I know.
Hmm. Amazing. Again, incredible story. And imagine, growing up as a child and having these experiences, and you bring them to your parents and they don't have answers. And you're constantly still having to deal with the issue, but no resolution.
Mhm.
So, did you ever experience any type of entities entering your bedroom when you were younger?
I don't know. I don't know what those shadows were. I don't know why the clock disappeared. I know, I believe I told you the story about the Ouija board that was given to me as a gift for Christmas by my cousin, my older cousin.
Yes, tell us that again.
And she had given me a Ouija board, and we asked first simple questions. And I mean, family members, what was a friend of my parents? What was their maiden name? And the thing knew it. And my mother wasn't involved in the laying of the fingers. Uh, but then weird things started to happen in the house.
Right
Closet,
after, right after that.
yeah, closet
Mhm.
doors opening, closing, stuff falling off the kitchen counters. My mother's, I'll never forget, the vacuum cleaner turned on and it wasn't plugged in. There's just, it was like there was just, and my mom made me. She's like, "That's it, get rid of it."
So okay, I have a couple questions. I know Bobby just said as if it's not normal, but Bobby, there's a lot of people like Danny said that it does happen to them, especially as children. They don't talk about it,
Oh no,
or
for sure.
they
Definitely.
dismiss it as probably their imagination, right? Like they
Yeah.
think back and they go, "Oh, it's probably imaginating."
Mm.
But I had a question about the voices because were they internal or were they external? Like, could you hear them with your ears, or could you hear them like telepathically, kind of talking to you?
No, they were internal.
Okay,
Internal.
Danny, I would say that's your guides talking to you.
Yes.
Sometimes, yeah, yeah, I would say
Yes.
that's your
Mhm.
guides. That's why you, like you said, premonitions. That's yeah, they would definitely be warning you or telling you something.
Oh,
And then
so
my second question was that this Ouija board, if you can remember, do you remember if you guys closed it out after you used it, or did you leave it open?
Yeah, or
And
you
you
reading
know,
the
did you
Parker
say
Brothers
goodbye
manual.
basically? Yeah, yeah. Did you
Like,
say
how did you even know
goodbye?
how to use that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
there is a manual. They do tell you to say goodbye in the manual
yeah.
in the
Right.
Parker Brothers
they
thing.
do? I
Yeah, they
didn't know
do.
that.
But they don't warn you, hey, if you don't close it, it could be a portal
I don't think
or
I
something
ever
could get
did that.
attached.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think I did that when I played. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry, Danny.
No, there's only one horror, and like I don't really watch horror movies,
Yeah.
but there's only one horror movie I will never watch again, and that was, I think it starred Tawny Katane. It was called Witchboard,
Yeah.
Oh,
and it
really?
was about the
Mhm.
Ouija and a portal. And
Mhm.
no, thank you. I
Mm.
never will I watch that movie again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I honestly, Vanessa, I don't know. I don't remember if we closed it out. I know we put it away and in the
Right.
box.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if we said goodbye to it. I
I'm
was a
with you
kid. I
too,
was like
Danny.
12.
Yeah, I used one exactly around that age, and I can't remember if I closed it out, but we started having weird things around our house too. So
Mhm.
that's why I was curious because I was like, I can't even remember if we even followed the directions like we were supposed to, you know? But I know I stopped messing with them when I was little because when stuff started moving around, I was like, okay, I guess we don't know. I guess this
Mhm.
thing's legit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and people poo-poo it. Oh, it's just a child's game. It's just a kid's game. Well, as soon as I got rid of that board, the weird stuff stopped happening around the house. So
Mm.
Oh, interesting. So, Danny, I know Vanessa was saying that it could have possibly have been your guides, but did you like when you were hearing these voices, did you like feel like a feeling of safety or was it dread? Like what were you feeling when you would hear these voices?
again, I was young, but it was the same things. I don't know what I felt then. I'm going to go with dread because there are times now I still get them.
Mm.
Like if I'm sleeping in a place that I'm not used to sleeping, like a hotel room, or I will dog sit for some of my friends, and I'm in there, and you hear "wake up,"
Mm.
and
Mm.
while you're sleeping, and you wake up,
Yeah.
and you see a full blown apparatus at the end of the bed. They're like you're rubbing the stuff out of your
Yeah.
eyes,
Mhm.
but it's not like I was ever told to go do harm to anybody or run for my life or
Mm.
don't go there or whatever it is. It's simple things like wake up or uh, be careful. It's never
Mm.
long sentences. It's just
Mm.
one or two words.
Mm.
There has been one time where I've actually had, and I was with two of my medium friends, and they were trying to help me. And they said, even though they really can't help me, they were trying to more or less guide me on how to let the light enter and keep the dark spirits away, so to speak,
Mm.
that have roamed throughout my life for quite a long time.
Mhm.
Uh, which, according to them, they say I'm a very empathetic person,
Mhm.
and the dark spirits kind of want to cling on to me because they feel they're going to get empathy or the darkness, not the dark or the evil, because there's a difference.
Yeah.
Um, but there was one time I was with them, and I heard an outside voice, and my medium friend said to me, "What was that?" And I repeated it to her, and she said, "Oh my gosh, that's what my father used to say to me."
Mm.
So yeah, I don't.
Yeah, so
Again, take it
maybe it
for
was,
what it's worth,
yeah, it
but
could have been her
yeah,
father there, and you were able to pick up on that.
right.
So, to go back, as you're growing up and you're going through these experiences, what was the next significant experience that really made you question, like, okay, there's something going on here. It's not normal.
Well, as I got older, and I'll reiterate, my grandparents lived several blocks down the street from me growing up, and I spent a lot of time there. I could not stand their attic or their basement, especially the attic. I would go up the attic to help them get stuff down or Christmas decorations, whatever it might be, and every hair on my body would stand up. And again, I never felt like I was alone. But unlike the experience in my bedroom where I wasn't sure what that was, this, whatever it was, scared me.
Mm.
So I don't know. It was like angry, and as if like I could just hear somebody as if it would be an old man saying, "Get off my lawn,"
Yeah.
you or "Don't walk in front of my house." I was somewhere, even though I knew I had every right to be there.
Mhm.
It just felt like something was telling me, "You have no right to be here." And I used to go down and tell my grandparents and tell my parents that I don't want to go up there.
Mm.
And and as I got older, of course I did, but that feeling never subsided.
Oh,
I
wow.
just learned how to process it better and deal
Yeah.
with it.
So, but
And
were
then
you Oh, I'm sorry, Danny.
no,
Can
go
I
ahead.
just ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Were you the only one that felt like that going into the attic or basement? Or did your grandparents say like they sometimes felt the same way as well?
No, but my mother, who is still alive, she's 82, and that was her parents' house. She did tell me that she was never uncomfortable up there as well, or never comfortable up there as well. It used to make her uncomfortable. So, uh, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is I never liked going up there.
Why is it always an attic or basement? I'm kind
Because
of
they're less lived in. They can take up space in those areas. I was going to ask, is that house white with a green roof? Like, is it a.
No, it is white, but it had a regular charcoal gray roof.
Oh, really? Interesting. I know. I just saw it in my mind's eye. That's why I was curious if it was.
You're not far off because my medium friend told me when I told her the address, and I don't know whether she took a ride by or just let her spidey senses do the work, but she said there was now that house was built in 1912, maybe 1920,
That's what
something
I
like
was
that.
thinking. That's the kind of house I was thinking of. Yeah, I could see it.
And,
Yeah.
and that too was a semi-attached home. So there was
Mhm.
somebody on the other side. However, my friend told me that she said somebody was murdered up in that attic and they dragged the body down to the basement and it might still
Interesting.
be there. Yeah, so
Interesting.
they might have buried somebody in the basement and cemented over it
I mean, it
back in
is
the
New
day.
Jersey, Danny. It is New Jersey.
It's not the Pine Barrens, but it's New
Yeah,
Jersey.
yeah. I mean,
Isn't that where
listen,
Jimmy
So
Hoffa was from?
I mean, I'm not sure where Jimmy Hoffa is from,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure where Jimmy Hoffa went. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
he
know.
was
I've heard like rumors about a basement, so I'm
he was
joking, but
as a Teamster, he was from Detroit, but they alleged that he was buried in the end zone of Giant Stadium.
Yeah,
So
Giant Stadium.
Interesting.
oh wow.
Interesting.
Mm.
No, that's really cool. But I mean, also, I don't know if you guys, Bobby and Amy, realize, Danny is living in an area that has so much history.
Oh,
When
sure.
yeah, so I guarantee there's so many things that you were running into that you would probably be so confused what would be what if, or what decade, you know? Because I know my dad has his own personal experience in Brooklyn where he saw like a Civil War soldier. So like,
Mm.
and this is the 1960s. So what, like what is this soldier doing in my basement kind of thing, So very interesting.
no, that's interesting you say that because when my ex-wife and I first split up, I moved into my sister's basement and she lives in a town called Bordentown. Bordentown is where the British holed up in 1776 or 1778 before the Battle of Trenton. And so Thomas Paine lived in Bordentown. My nephew and his partner bought an old bank building that was so haunted, we had to bring in a paranormal investigation.
Oh, wow.
And the
Oh.
things I saw and felt and wouldn't believe with my own eyes that night, it was just incredible. It was also that building was also a stop on the Underground Railroad. So you can go down in the basement of this old bank building and see the tunnels. They're all bricked up now, but there are tunnels for the Underground Railroad. It's also that town is also where Napoleon Bonaparte's brother had a huge estate, and they dug tunnels out to the Delaware River.
Mm.
So there were things in Bordentown. My nephew went to the historical commission because they wanted to do some renovations, and he asked about ghosts, and they said Bordentown is like any house in the fall. You know how you get mice in your house in the fall? Well, we got ghosts. So it's a very common thing, but yeah, so you're right, Vanessa, and I don't live I mean, literally as a kid, I could straddle the street 500 feet behind my house and be 1 foot in Trenton and 1 foot in Hamilton Township. So,
Mm.
Yeah. That area is really interesting because I had an ex who was in New Jersey, but in the Phillipsburg area, so like by
oh, yeah,
Easton.
I know it well.
Yeah, and that area is also very spooky. Like, and also a lot of those colonial homes are still there. I mean, some of them built in the 1800s, and they're using them for restaurants and all kinds of stuff that you could still go in them. I mean, cool vibe, but there's so much history on the land. What the people experienced and some of the devastation. Just
Right.
sickness and just
Yep,
starting this country off basically back in the day.
yep.
So, what was your next experience, Danny?
Well, when I moved out of my house and got my own apartment, and a couple of years later, my ex-wife and I bought a home in a section of Trenton called Chambersburg. And we had been living there for maybe, I don't know, 4, 5 months, 6 months. And I woke up one night and my ex-wife had a white bathrobe. And I thought it was her standing at the end of my bed. She's in this white bathrobe. And I woke up and I said, "Are you okay?" And she just nodded and she walked out of the room. I thought she was going to the bathroom. So I lay back down. I look over and she's laying next to me.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
And I thought,
gosh.
okay, that's weird. And she had this, and like my ex-wife, she had long blonde hair, and I thought, okay, that's weird. But then the next day we wake up and I told her about it, and she said, "Yeah, I thought, no, I'm seeing things." So apparently she had woken up as well. So one of the things you do in Chambersburg, because there is no grass, a lot of times the neighbors will grab a lawn chair and sit out front on their porches or in front of their porches, and they'll talk and socialize. So my neighbor across the street, her and her husband, I graduated high school with, so we knew each other. So she comes walking across the street and we're talking. And all of a sudden she looks at me. She goes, "Look, guys, I really got to tell you something, but I don't want you to think I'm crazy." And my ex-wife and I kind of looked at each other, and
Mhm.
she tells us the same story, describes the same exact woman, and had the same encounter as I did.
Wow.
So, and we looked at her, we said, "You're not crazy. We saw her too."
Yeah.
Uh, and then when my ex-wife and I moved to our second home, it was a one owner home. We were the second. And the family that owned it, the parents eventually got divorced. The father or the husband was a mailman. Now keep in mind, I was a UPS driver
Mhm.
at this point. He's a mailman. Problem was that he liked to have a few cocktails. So when he would get done work, he would go to the bar and he wouldn't come home till between 2 and 3 in the morning when the bar closed. Well, eventually the man got, he unfortunately he had cancer and he
Mm.
had no family. So his ex-wife took him back in, set him up in the lower level of our home. And then when he got too bad, took him to a hospice care facility or the hospital, and he passed away in a hospital. So we moved in that house in May. And I only found all this out because all this weird stuff started happening in my house when we moved in. We moved in May. In June, I went to a birthday party and we had a fireplace. So I had gone out and I had found a bunch of trees and I brought them back to my house with a chainsaw, hacked them up, and then I split the wood and put them on a log rack. There was in our backyard a holly tree. It wasn't a real tall tree, it was more like a bush. But the woman told us, "Oh, my husband gave us that when we when we first moved in here. He gave that to me as a housewarming gift, and it's come back every year. And it was a beautiful holly bush. It really was beautiful shape." Well, no sooner after we moved in there, it died. Just
Oh,
died, and we thought, okay, that's weird, but
Yeah.
it died. So what I did was I cut it down and I cut it up into small logs and put it on the log rack. So we had gone out to a birthday party, and I come home late in the afternoon, almost dusk, and I look in the backyard. Every single one of those logs is just strewn all over my backyard. What the heck did this? At first, I thought maybe an animal got up in there and
Yeah.
knocked it down, but then they would be all around the log rack. No, they were 25, 30 feet away in every direction. And wow, that is weird.
That is.
Okay,
yes,
no
very
big
weird.
deal. And then after that, we started hearing things. We would, things sounded like something fell off a shelf or something. We go down to investigate. There was nothing. And then it got even more weird because at midnight, or not at midnight, he died in December, a week or two before Christmas. And every year between 1 and 3 in the morning, that week of his passing, we would hear 3 knocks on the front door. And I would go downstairs. The first couple years, I went downstairs. After that, I was like, ah. You know, if it was somebody there, the dog would be barking, you know?
Yeah.
But we would go downstairs and we would look. I would look on the front porch and there was nobody there.
Hmm.
And then one time my dog came down and she started growling. And I'm like, all right. So I turn on the porch light and there's nobody there.
Hmm.
So I shut everything up. And all of a sudden there was a closet right behind our front door for coats and the such. The knocks came from there. Like, that closet's not that big.
Yeah.
Threw open the door and there's nobody there. But yeah, and then from there on, there was an instance where I think I told you, Bobby, my ex-wife, once my son was born, she quit working and went and became a consultant. And every now and then she would have to travel. And she was going to Boston and she had a car picking her up at like 5 in the morning. And at about 2 in the morning, we heard somebody pacing in my hallway. Now, my grandmother, who was 78 years old at the time, was in the next bedroom because she was going to stay there and take care of my son, who was almost 3, and till I got back from work. And I thought, oh gosh, I hope my grandmom's all right, you know. And then I heard her walk downstairs, and then I heard her hit the kitchen, and we lived in a split level. So you 5 steps down, you walked into the kitchen, 5 more steps down to where Eddie, which was his name, that's where he convalesced.
Yeah.
And she walked down. I thought, oh boy, okay. So she must have gone down to get a glass of water. And I fell back to sleep. Next morning, and my ex-wife heard it as well. Next morning, my ex-wife gets picked up by the car. I wake up, I'm getting ready for work. My grandmother's there. I said, would you have a bad night last night, Grandma? What happened? I heard you. And she goes, that wasn't me. I thought that was you. I was like, that wasn't you? She said, no. I just, you know, and again, my son, we moved in there. He was about 2 years old. And he used to tell us he had an imaginary friend when he began to talk named Bammon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the gentleman's name was Eddie, and my ex-wife had a cousin named Eddie. And whenever Eddie's kind of a shy guy, so whenever Eddie would come over, we would chant, Eddie, Eddie. I think we summoned Eddie from the grave because my son would sit up in the middle of the night and just sometimes yell, Eddie's here.
Oh my
wow.
goodness.
You know, talk about chilling.
Yeah.
I mean, but he never bothered us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were some things that would happen. Certain things were moved, or we thought we misplaced things, and then all of a sudden they would magically appear.
Yeah.
You know, kind of poltergeist activity. And a little later, I'll tell you something that happened, and I don't want to put it out there, but I'll tell you something that happened afterwards.
Okay.
But the you know, and he never really got violent or scary or nasty. It was more of an occasional nuisance.
Yeah.
And but that was all right. And you know, I talked to him like, Eddie, you're welcome to stay, man. Just don't bother us. All right. Do what you got to do. We're all happy. I appreciate you watching over my son, you know. And then one day it turned. Things started. I think I told you the story. My nephew's like 6'4". He's like 6'4", 230. And we were the TV down in the lower level where Eddie stayed. I couldn't get anything on it. Every other cable channel worked. Oh, the splitter must have went bad. We were outside changing this cable splitter. Not a breeze, not a nothing. And I had a gate that was difficult to close because I had a built-in pool and I didn't want people getting in the backyard. So I thought, if anybody tries to get in, I'm going to hear that scrape I'm going to hear, and all of a sudden we're standing there and the gate just slammed shut. And I was like, holy cow. I turn around. My 6'4" nephew is beelines it in the house. I'm out there by myself. And I walk in, and sure enough, I didn't even finish the
Yeah.
splitter. Sure enough, the cable's working just fine.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then again, my ex-wife went away for business, and I'm on the phone with her, and it was all of a sudden nothing but static. And then that heavy, heavy feeling came over me.
Yeah.
You're not alone. You are not alone. And those voices, Vanessa, go to the steps. Go to the steps. I go to the steps, and there was nothing I could see up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my dog sat right next to me, growling away, and that was when I lost it. And I just screamed at this, whatever it was. You are welcome to stay here, but not if you're going to pull this junk. You know what? You need to go now, or come to grips with this. You need to go to the light, do whatever it is spirits do. Get out of my. And I went off.
Yeah.
Like I was possessed. 2 seconds later, my phone rings. It's my ex-wife. She goes, "Can you hear me?" And we were never bothered again.
Wow.
Now,
I was gonna say, Danny, that's probably the best thing you could have done because you set your boundaries with that
exactly
that
yes.
entity, whatever it was,
Now, you want to know the odd part about that?
Yeah.
My 6'4" nephew, he's actually my ex-wife's nephew, but we got 50-50 custody, apparently. He's 40 some years old now. He's got a set of twins, a boy and a girl.
Oh, okay.
And he bought that house
Oh.
from my ex-wife. So he now lives there. This past December, he texted me, "Eddie's back."
Wow.
My goodness.
He got the knock between 12 and 3, or between 1 and 3, the week before Christmas. And he also said that his twins, they have the same bedrooms my kids had. It was a 3-bedroom house. That his twins will say that they have a friend that comes to read to them.
Wow.
Interesting.
So I you
never thought it was
that what you will.
You never thought it was somebody else besides Eddie? Maybe something from the land?
You know what? I lived in a section of Hamilton Township called Hamilton Square, which was, and it could have been because that development was built in the late 1950s, early 1960s. It was called Sunset Manor. And it's got a high water table in some of the areas of that development, but it was nothing but farmland. Just farmland. And, as people wanted out of the city, it expanded.
Yeah, because I bet you because I'm sure Eddie's does come visit probably, to see if that lady, his ex-wife, is still there. But I'll tell you what, the vibe that I got from when you were telling me about the door slamming and because he never escalated before, I feel like it's something else, like from the land maybe. Maybe because your family may just have a light that those beings can tell, especially if
He definitely has it.
that's what I mean.
There.
They're attractive. They're attracted to people, like you said, empathic people, but also if like your friends were telling you, like you have to guard yourself in a way so that not everything hangs around though. Like maybe they see you, but they can't get to you, so they just keep moving versus like staying. But I also know that there's a lot of Native American stuff in those areas.
Oh, yeah.
And
Big
so,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
people forget New York City was a bunch of land too. Like the Manhattan used to just be farmland. So it's like you said, it's sometimes we have to look at the layers, but it's very interesting though that your nephew is now getting these knocks though, that Eddie's still coming to see. That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Is he going to ask it to leave, or is he going to,
I don't know. Up until that point that my nephew told me that, there had been nothing going on in that house.
Yeah.
Because my kids lived there till they were about 16, I guess, before their mother remarried or moved out and she sold it.
Yeah.
But there was nothing odd. I mean, I never felt uncomfortable there. until some of that weird stuff started happening, and then it was like, okay, got to look over your shoulder, you know.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Mm.
it was never to the point where I thought, oh God, I got to move.
Right.
Now, when it first started happening, I thought about bringing in a priest and having him bless it,
Yeah.
but things seemed to subside. So
Does anyone else in your family have these abilities or this much interaction with, spirits or anything that goes bump in the night?
I had an older cousin who was 4 years older than me, and she did. Unfortunately, she unexpectedly passed away in her sleep a
Mhm.
few years ago.
Oh, wow. Sorry to
She
hear
was
that.
only 62 at the time, I think.
Yeah. That's
But so, eh, other than her, no, not to my recollection.
mm,
I mean, they could just not have told you either, because I know my family, it
Mm.
took them a while to start telling even me of some of the experiences. Because when we were kids, I lived in New York City. We saw stuff a lot, and we would tell them, and they were like, "You're fine, you're fine." It's only till we got older, they're like, "Well, our family's psychic." I'm like, "What? You've been telling me I haven't seen anything my whole life,
yeah.
and now you're telling me
My
all
family was
these
the same way.
experiences?" Yeah, I was like, "Why would you?" And they're like, "Well, we didn't want to scare you any more than you're already scared." And I'm like, "Well, maybe if you told me not to be scared and that this is
Mhm.
just a thing that happens sometimes, I
Right.
probably wouldn't have been as terrified of it."
Now it's funny you
Mm.
say that because, and Bobby, I hadn't gotten into this with you yet the
Yeah.
last time we spoke, but I met my medium friend. As I said, I'm a musician, and she has a daughter who is also a musician. And I had her daughter was performing at a local bar and restaurant in Hamilton Township. And I happened to be out that way. So I decided, okay, on the way home, I'm just going to stop and check out Kelly. So I go there and she's just about to start. And she says, let me introduce you to my mom and her friend. So I met her mom and I met her friend. And her mom says, sit, if you want to sit with us, you can. There's no seats anywhere. So I sat down next to her. And she says to me, she says, stay here. Don't go away. Please don't go away. Okay. She gets up. I'm thinking, boy, she really got to run to the bathroom, you know? She gets up. She comes back with a stack of napkins, had to be that big, and a pen. And she just starts writing stuff down like as if she was possessed, like,
Yeah.
on this napkin. And she hands it to me and she says, how much of this is right? She knew my grandparents' names. She knew my cousin's name. She knew my uncle or my grandfather's brother who disliked my grandfather and he
Wow.
was at war with.
Yeah.
He knew my sister's names. She knew
Wow.
my some of my cousins that were my peers, their names. She knew where I grew up. She knew. I'm like, I've never met this woman before
Yeah.
in my life. And that sparked my relationship and friendship, a friendship, not a relationship, but a
Yeah.
friendship with her.
Hmm.
And I, like, I was just blown away by the things that she knew and the things that I didn't know. I asked my mom about. I said, Mom, what does this mean if I read you this? She goes, oh, that was your grandmother's. Are you kidding me right now? You know,
Wow.
so
Wow.
it was just a very um, it was a very eye-opening experience. But
Yeah.
how I met her and came to go that evening
Hmm.
was a week or so prior. Now her daughter moved to Nashville right before this incident, and she happened to be home, so she booked a couple gigs. I was coming out of a local uh, drinking establishment,
Watering hole.
and I get in my car and I take my phone out of my pocket and I put it in my cup holder, and I get a text message. So before I leave, I open it up, and the message says, "Are you?" And it was from a number not in my contacts.
Yeah.
Hey, Kel, do you plan on coming home this evening? or are you guys staying at the hotel? And
Weird.
I'm like, Kelly. Now my sister's name is Kelly. So I thought maybe it was one of her friends. So I texted my sister. I'm like, are you and Mike? Are you out and about? Where are you? And she said, we're home. Why? I said, are you guys staying in a hotel for any reason? She says, no. I said, I got this text message wanting to know if you were coming home or staying in a hotel. My parents lived in Myrtle Beach at the time. So I can't make sense of this, but obviously they sent it to me by mistake. So for whatever reason, one of them inside voices said, answer this. And I answered the text and I said, I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number. I have a sister named Kelly. Is that who you're trying to reach out to? She said, no. My daughter is Kelly. And I'm like, well, you're not my mom. I know her. And she said, no. She said, I'm reaching for my sister Kelly. I said, are you trying to contact Kelly Coleman? She said, no, Kelly Carvin. And I'm like, you got the wrong number. She says, no, here's my daughter's number. And sure enough, I look up at the text chain at the top. It's between her and her daughter. My number's not even on it.
Wow.
I'm like, how the heck did I get this?
Yes.
Weird.
And then a couple of weeks later, I wind up meeting her. And as she said to me, and to this day still does, there are no accidents.
Wow. That gave me chills.
No, I agree. So that makes me question though, or wonder, have you ever thought about using your abilities or like developing them more? Because you obviously have some. I mean, as a musician, I'm not surprised you're clairaudient. You probably have so much ability to hear tone and frequency that you could probably easily hear the spirit world, quote unquote,
Well, once I started, my spiritual relationship with her, or spirit guide, really, whatever you want to call it, she used to read tarot and all this kind of stuff, and I never dabbled in that, so to speak. But she opened my eyes to a lot of different things. And when she did that, it was like that. Remember Ghostbusters? How there was that huge antenna to the other way, bringing in. It was like all of a sudden I started getting bombarded because number one, I finally accepted this, what they, quote unquote gift, that it could be a gift or it could be a curse. But once that started happening, and there were some scary things. I do a radio program, and at the one point I did it from a studio that was about an hour and 10 minutes south of where I live. So every Sunday night, the show was on from 10 to midnight. And then I drove home somewhere between 12:30 or between 12:15 and 1 o'clock in the morning. I would leave. And one morning I was living at my sister's, and I got home and I turned my truck off and I just sat there for a second. And I look in the rearview mirror and I see this girl walk behind my truck. And she's dressed all in black, like she was one of the, like, gothic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And I look in the side mirror and she's gone. And I thought, God, you got to be tired. You must be seeing things.
Yeah.
So I relay this a week or so later. I relay this to my friend Maureen, the medium. She said, oh, no, you got two spirits on that street. She said, you got her and you got a trumpet player or a sax player. He committed suicide in the house on the other side of yours. And she was hit and killed by a car, and she doesn't know she's dead.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, why are they bothering me? The trumpet player never bothered me, but,
No, because you have the ability to experience that.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe she wasn't bothering you. You just happened to see her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Yep.
I know that sometimes I don't think any of these beings expect some people to see him, or like you said, she could just be in that death state where she doesn't even know she's dead. So she's kind of just not aware of other things. And you just happen to be like, oh, I live by like St. Augustine, and when I go there, forget about it. There's so much there that I'm just like, okay, especially by the fort. I mean, I've seen some stuff where
Oh,
I
okay.
know for a fact they don't even know I'm there. Like they don't even recognize that there's other things going on around them.
I go
So,
there to play golf once a year to Jacksonville.
oh, Sawgrass? You go to Sawgrass? Is that where
Oh
you go?
God, I wish.
Oh, the TPC.
I go to Grumpy's for breakfast. That's
Oh,
about it. I
okay.
go
That's
play golf
good.
with them.
Yeah, we got the TPC guys, so we get Tiger Woods and stuff coming
Oh
down
yeah, you
and
get the
stuff.
big
Yeah.
boys,
Nice.
not the
Yeah,
weekend hack like me.
yeah, these are California people. They probably don't know too much about the Florida. I mean, except Mar-a-Lago, right? Everybody knows about Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Jacksonville for 15 minutes and I was like, exit stage right. You know, it was a
Yeah.
month or so. Yeah.
That's right, Bobby.
That bad, Bobby?
What's that?
That bad?
Oh
It's
yeah,
a,
no, my parents were stationed there when I was younger.
it's a
Ah.
different,
I'm
it's a
from
different
California,
vibe.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Once I saw on the news about crosses being burned on people's lawn, I was like, I'm going back to California and stay with my aunt.
I will say this. I will say this. I've been here almost 20 years on and off now, and it's slightly better. And I say slightly because now
Hopefully.
they at least hide their racism. It used to be
Hopefully.
overt, like Bobby's saying.
Loving one another. But
Interesting.
yeah, these are incredible stories, Danny. And so I'm pretty sure your friend who's a medium has told you that there's something with you particular that you're able to communicate, whether it's verbally, visually, or they're able to see or sense you. And they're trying to, it's kind of like a beacon or a light that's in the distance, and a moth to a flame type situation. Has she said that to you at all?
Yeah, she said they're attracted to me because I have a, empathetic personality, and that they feel like they feel safe
Mm.
with me or around me. And uh, she said that's where you have to be careful, because there are a lot of dark spirits who will pretend to be, and if you let them in,
Yeah.
you're in trouble.
Mhm.
And uh, I have, I mean, there's just things I sense, things I've done a really good job at it. But I'm going to tell you the truth, and this may not fit with the narrative of the podcast.
Mhm.
But I was raised Catholic, and up to the time I was about 14, 15 years old, I went to church every Sunday with my grandparents. And then my grandfather got sick and passed away a year or so later. So and then I discovered rock and roll music. So I kind of stopped going to church. And then when my ex-wife and I wanted to get married, I thought, well, you know what? We better go back to church. And we started going back to church, and we stayed there. Then when we had kids, we want to have them baptized. So we kept going to church. And then after they were baptized, it became, I'll get there next week. And then
Yeah.
I had a lot of issues with the Catholic Church. And it wasn't until the producer of my radio program, that Claire Henwood, she said to me, it's okay to not like the messenger, but
Mhm.
don't hate the message.
Yeah.
And from that point on, several years ago, I started going back to church every
Mhm.
Sunday. And I go by myself. I sit in the back with the bad kids, and I, I go to confession, not as regularly as I should,
Mhm.
but ever since I started doing that, these instances are fewer and far between.
Oh wow.
Danny, I want to tell you, I mean, there's no real narrative here, by the way. I do think it is about someone's belief that makes them stronger, and spiritually also. So like any belief, is power in it, so it doesn't really matter if you're Catholic or non-denominational, Buddhist, whatever. I think it's good to have some belief system in place for protection, additional protection. So to all our listeners, we love you all no matter what you celebrate. So don't you worry out there. Like we're not thinking less, or you're superior just because of your beliefs. We think everybody has an even playing field. At least for me in the spirit world, I think any
Definitely.
belief system is a good belief system, personally. So I just want to let you and the listeners know that.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry if I said something out of line
Oh, no,
there.
no,
oh, no, no,
no,
no.
no, you said it.
No.
It may not go with our narrative, and I was like, I don't think we have one when it comes to
Oh,
belief.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
So
What I
I just
kind of
want,
meant by that was this is a story about hauntings and
yeah,
ghosts.
but
And,
religion can play a part, you know. I
Oh, it
mean, a
does.
lot
oh,
of
It
yeah.
does
people,
play.
yeah, a lot of people see things that are also mystical, and they're not sure, but they have their belief system, and that may fall in line with it, you know. And so that's, we want to hear those stories too, guys. If you've seen an angel, if you've seen anything, I mean, that to me is still a maybe it's explainable to you, but our other listeners may want to hear that. And I think
Oh, for
it's
sure.
also provides faith for people, you know, that there is something external outside of us, you know.
My mom has
You
at
know,
least about 3 angel stories that, you know,
Mhm.
happened to her that actually on each time saved her life. And the
See?
person was not nowhere to be found, nor did anybody else see this person. So those stories are coming in the future.
Oh.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to hear.
that's, yeah, and they're the good ones.
Yeah, 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 right,
Life saving
exactly.
is always good.
And that's what I'm
Um,
saying. Keep it high vibe. And if that means you go to church and you do confession, great. That if that means, you know, you're Muslim and you pray, you know, every whatever amount throughout the day, you know, that's good. That's what works for you, you know? So, I mean,
uh,
that's what
Yeah.
I at least that's what I believe. I mean, I'll burn Palo Santo. That's what works for me, you know? So,
well, you want to hear the oddity of that is that I did my radio show for an organization called City of Angels.
oh,
They
cool.
needed some help with their radio station, and I had left the one station I was on. I brought my show there.
Hmm.
City of Angels is a drug and alcohol outfit. They don't provide treatment, but they get people into treatment, and they work with the families, and then post treatment they help the addicts find jobs and so on and so forth. And I did my radio show with them, and at the time they were stationed at a church in a town called Heightstown and New Jersey. Well, the church was like, I think, 175 years old. It was the First Baptist Church of Heightstown. Well, they pulled a real. You guys see the movie Poltergeist?
Mhm.
Yes.
All right. Do you remember the scene where he grabbed the guy and said, "You moved the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies,
Yes.
didn't you?" Right?
Yes.
Well, behind the church there was a graveyard, which was common for churches back then. Well, the church wanted a parking lot. So they removed the headstones, but not the bodies, and they paved right over the
Oh
parking lot.
my.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
Oh, that's awful.
And when they were excavating alongside the church to put a small addition on, they dug up some human remains.
Mhm.
So there was a big hall, this was long before we went there.
Yeah.
Well, and this is probably, Bobby, this is probably the most chilling ghost story. And I know I told you this, and I hope the ladies find it just as fascinating. But
Let me ask
we,
you, Danny, before you start, do you have the laptop light? Because people are going to be like,
oh, I'm getting dark there, huh?
there's a head talking to us and it's floating.
Give me one
Is this
second. I'll turn on my light.
paranormal? And so I just-
Hey, it's Vanessa from Strange Darkness Radio. First off, thank you to all our listeners and our YouTube followers. We're about to cross over 30,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is almost enough to start a secret society. Don't tempt us with a good time. If you haven't subscribed yet, smash that button and help us cross over that 30,000 before the shadows do.
because I did love the vibe, but it was getting too dark.
I get it. So this church, I'd be sitting in the radio. They converted the upstairs to half of it was a daycare center because it used to be a school.
Mhm.
Half of it was the daycare center. The other half was projects like yours, podcasts, radio. They had all kinds of media stuff going on. Ironically enough, my group was in the kindergarten room, the old kindergarten. teacher's or classroom. I'd be sitting in my chair with a guest across from me, and I would see people walk down the hallway.
Wow.
We were the only ones in the church.
Oh my
Nobody else was
goodness.
there. We had a toy that would go off at the exact same moment every Sunday night, and we could never find it. Like a kid's toy would start
Yeah.
making like playing music.
Mm.
We could never find it. But the coup de grace, so to speak, was every year for my radio program, I have what I call my Christmas spectacular. And I get food and drink, and I invite anybody who's ever been a guest on my radio show to attend. So one year, a gentleman comes in, and he comes upstairs and he says, I have a question. So what's that? So like to get to the radio station, you came in the back door and immediately went up a staircase on the right. But next to that staircase was another room. It was the library for the church. So this gentleman comes in. He goes, I walked into that first room on the right downstairs. I said, oh, yeah? He says, yeah. He said, there was a woman sitting there and she was crocheting. And I asked her if this is where the radio show party was. And she just kind of smiled at me and went like this. He goes, oh, I turned around and I looked out. I turned back. He said, she was gone.
Ooh.
And I was like, well, that's weird. About an hour later, another gentleman come up, but he's visibly shaken.
Yeah.
He says, I went into that room next to the stairwell. Yeah. And there was a lady in there knitting. And I asked her where the radio show Christmas party is. And she went like this. And I said, oh, it's upstairs. He goes, and she disappeared right in front of my eyes.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I would go in that church and it was like my grandparents' attic. Every hair on my arm would stand up. The amount of activity in that church. One time we shut off all the lights and went into that room where the knitting lady, as she became known, was. The orbs were everywhere. They were just all over the place. So now, just like my nephew's place in Bordentown, you shined a light because the basement was where all the activity was for the most part. And, you know, I could tell you stories about that too, but I don't know how much time you have.
No, we definitely have time for a couple more stories. So
I want to hear about this bank, especially that it's, I mean, I used to work in banks too, Danny, and some of the Jacksonville has underground tunnels through the old banks also because they used to transfer the money from the capital and stuff like that, or not capital, but the main place of the city or whatever. So they would, instead of, and also I think some of it was used for prohibition. That's just me. But
Good chance.
yeah, but they do tours still. They'll let people go down there. Now they don't do haunted tours, but I've always gotten vibes in those kind of buildings. They're just so old, you know. So I'm interested. I don't know about Amy if she
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Well, the bank building, my nephew and his buddy decided they were going to open up a pizza place inside this bank building. Now, there have been, since it closed as a bank, there have been many, many, many different businesses. None of them last more than a few months.
Mm.
And we know why. Because when my nephew took it over, they had to convert it from a bank to a restaurant. And there were several areas. There was the basement, which you got to through the dishwashing area. There was the second floor, which is where the bank offices were, and the guys would sit up top. Your bank executives or whatever. It's a very, very old bank, very, very old building. And then there was the whole bank floor. So they had to rip all that out, and they had to they brought in a wood-fired pizza oven that they got delivered from Italy. So they went all out to do this correctly. It was wood-fired pizza. So it was during, believe it or not, Superstorm Sandy that my nephew's partner, are you guys familiar with Sandy?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Totally devastated New Jersey, New York, parts of Delaware and Pennsylvania. And Sandy is in the beginning of stages. Well, due to the wind, it sets the fire alarm off at this vacant building that's being manufactured. So they call my nephew's partner. He lives about 15, 20 miles south. So he drives up, and the fire department's there, and they're all ticked off that they got to come out in this weather when there's real problems.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I don't know what set it off. So they go in, and because we lost power, it's pitch black in this place. So the first thing they hear, if I remember this correctly, they heard a laugh. Like, who the heck's in here?
Yeah.
And then they go down the basement to try to find the circuit breaker. See if maybe it just got tripped or something happened. So, and disconnect the fire alarm. So while they're down there, my nephew, they made their own mozzarella. So they had to have units like humidification or dehumidification units, one of those. And they were in boxes outside the basement door. So they're all down the basement, and all of a sudden they hear these boxes sliding across the floor. What the heck is that? They go running upstairs, and the boxes were all moved. So they're standing there like, what the heck is going on here? And then all of a sudden from the upstairs, they hear a ball bouncing down the steps. The captain of the fire department looked at my nephew's partner and said, all right, I don't know what's wrong with that fire alarm, but get it fixed. Let's go. We're out of here. and they beat feet.
Yeah.
And so my nephew called me because he knows I have some paranormal investigation contacts. And him and I have a friend named Cal Schwartz, who Cal is very heavily into the paranormal. And he has a friend who records voices. Like she'll go to a cemetery.
EVPs?
Yeah, EVPs.
Yes, thank you. That was the letters I was looking for. Yeah. She'll go to a cemetery with this recorder and just do that. So he hires a paranormal investigator from a county south of where we were. And the guy comes up, and I was part of it. His mom was part of it. My daughter was part of it. His partner and his wife were part of it, and they were total non-believers. But we go there, and they made us go down into the basement where the majority of the activity took place. Like a waitress had her apron undone. Another person was shoved. And this was all before this investigation. So we go down there. They turn out all the lights. They said, I need everybody to be absolutely quiet before we do this, because we got to get readings with our instrumentation. Okay. So we're all quiet. And all of a sudden, you hear a pair of glasses drop to the floor and get thrown across the floor. And my nephew's mother, my ex-sister-in-law, she was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I left my glasses over there. Well, the problem was nobody got up. Whatever this entity was picked her glasses up and threw them across the floor. We're like, all right, we're off to the races. So then we went into the tunnel as far as we could go before it was bricked up. And every one of us, no exception, every one of us smelled ladies' perfume. And it was very, very, very telling. And then from there we went into Vanessa. We went to the counting room, which was in the basement, which is also where the night drop went. In there, people got the guy in front of us. He got his hair pulled. The person next to him, they didn't bother me and my daughter, but the person next to us, got a little shove on the shoulder. Apparently there was an angry Indian that was also haunting that building along with a little boy.
Mhm.
who was not a very nice little boy. That's where the ball and the mischief kept coming from.
Wow.
There was we sat in one spot, no ceiling fans or anything. We sat in one spot, and all of a sudden, you could just feel cold air just envelop your entire body.
Yeah.
There were just so many things. And then we were up in the room. All of us went up to that second level, and they had those, I forget what they're called, where the words print out. They'll
Oh,
ask questions.
yeah, it's a box, and then it
Yeah.
gives the actual, yeah.
You can get the same thing on your phone if you go to ghostradar.com.
Yeah.
Because I had Ghost Radar, and I'm looking at it, and it's getting the same thing this guy spent $1,000 on. I got a free app.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I
And,
forgot what they're called,
Put it
though.
on
They're
white
called
noise, and then
something.
it'll actually say the
Yeah, say the
Yeah.
word. I think it goes through radio channels or something. Some of them do
Something,
that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that takes the frequency. And
I can't believe I forgot what the name's called.
Yeah,
It's
me
called
too.
something.
so they asked the guy his name.
something box. It's
And they said, all right,
a something
a
box.
what?
It's called a something box.
I think well, there's a brand called Ghost Box, but I think it's like there's a general term for them or
Yeah,
something.
something electronic. It's like an
Yes.
electronic name.
Something, yeah.
I can't remember for the life of me. I have to Google it. But the thing is that this, we asked this, are you?
Some call it a Frank's box, and then others call it just a ghost box.
Oh, okay.
Spirit box. Those are the terms for it. But yeah.
It measures temperature and radiation too, or something. But
okay.
So this gentleman asks it, are you the man that haunts this premises? And they had done some research, and they came up with a couple of names. And they said, are you such and such? And said, no. Are you such and such? Yes. Is your first name whatever it was? I can't remember at this time. Yes. So you are what I'd say, John Doe. So you are John Doe. And he comes back with touchdown. And like, if you are John Doe, give us a sign that you are here with us. And we were all on this side of the room, and the door was all the way on that side of the room, and the doorknob starts turning.
Cool.
Well, there were people who were ready to scream and go running out of there. And I can't blame them. But now my brother-in-law's father was born and raised in Bordentown. And he said that when I told him the guy's name, he goes, oh, yeah, he's buried right behind the house here in the cemetery. Because my sister's house backed in, her backyard butted up to the cemetery.
Yeah.
And in Bordentown. And he said, oh, yeah, he used to sit out every Mother's Day. He would go to the cemetery and he would steal flowers off the graves and then go sit on the side of the bank and sell them to people.
Wow.
So that was his connection to the bank.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and there was a time they had a hatchet that they kept to like break blocks of ice or certain things, just a small hand hatchet, that went missing. Nobody could find it. Nobody knew where it was. And then all of a sudden it reappeared. Guess where? In the counting room.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's just all kinds of weird things like that happen.
So let me ask you, Danny. So they were already starting their pizza, so they had it open for business where people could come in and buy it at the time, like buy in.
No, not at that time.
So they were
still
just
renovating
prepping.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
they're just prepping. So was that building made out of any kind of stone, like marble or anything inside?
Cement on the outside, and it had I believe it was hardwood floors on the inside, which I think were tiled over.
Okay. So it was pretty old then.
Oh yeah, it was very old.
Yeah, I mean, because you would think, I always look at these places of, where you have the public coming to, like theaters, banks. It doesn't surprise me when there's just stragglers, kind of in the area. They're probably going to commune to a building that everybody was, basically would go to,
Yep.
Very cool stories though, Danny. So thank you so much for, sharing all that with us.
Oh yeah, these stories are incredible. And again, it's a lot of people have these stories, and I hope they're okay. in the sense that I think they're going crazy because
Right.
that is the goal. It's like all these things happen, and then you tell your spouse, and they're like, "Yeah, right, whatever," and it just sometimes it can drive a wedge between relationships and stuff like that because when you see something, 100%, and especially when it keeps occurring. You want to get reassurance and you want, get validation for what you're experiencing. And some people will go to psychics, but then, that is, now it's better. People don't look down on psychics or people, mediums and all that stuff as much like it was back in the day. So, opposed to, oh, I just want to talk to my grandmother or a loved one, opposed to, no, this entity I'm seeing at night and it enters my room and this is what's happening to me, they don't still aren't that comfortable dealing with that type of situation. And so when you tell your story and people hear it, it's like, hopefully it gives comfort, like, you're not crazy. This is going on. And,
Right.
it happens more often than you think. And it's like Vanessa was saying, and I was saying, to where your relatives in the house know, they could even know what's going on,
Yeah.
but they won't say anything. And then later down the road, oh yeah, that happened all the time. And
Eh,
it's like,
Yeah, and you're like, you let me think I was going crazy. Thank you.
yeah,
Appreciate you.
exactly. Or they sit and have, conversations with these entities and bring them in. They break that third wall because they're like, well, it's just a buddy, it's just a friend, because and it could be a negative spirit or a negative entity, and we wonder why a lot of people, especially in this day and age, are just flipping out, totally doing things they would never do, from hurting children to hurting themselves or loved ones or spouses. And, then they go in and they say, no, that wasn't me. Like, I didn't do that. Like, what do you mean? Then they get labeled as schizophrenic, crazy, and off their meds and all these different things. And who knows, are these people being possessed?
right.
Yeah,
I
that
don't know,
is.
No,
Bobby.
you're right. And over the years, I was woke up one night by a little chubby kid, which I thought was a dog,
Mhm.
standing with its paws on the top back of my bed. It was a little chubby kid telling me he was hungry.
Yeah.
Oh.
And when he ran out, like he was not nice about it, Amy. He was like,
Oh.
I'm hungry. You know,
Okay.
dude, it's 2 o'clock in the morning,
Oh.
And then after that, I look in the corner and there's a huge dark figure, which I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is where you're buying it. There's the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
man.
but I tell you what, I know it, it's my same nephew had a bedroom at his friend's house, and he was sitting in there one day, and he comes in, and there's a woman sitting in a chair brushing her hair in a towel, like she just got out of the shower.
Mm.
And he looks at
Wow.
her, and she disappears. And then it happened the second time. So he said to his buddy, he goes, "Did your grandmother pass away in this house?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, get her out of my bedroom." So he started sleeping with the light on, and that basically did it. But
Mm.
they just show up in the strangest and weirdest times and weirdest ways, and I'm kind of glad, like I said, since I've been going back to church, that it's lessened the activity.
Mhm.
But like you, Vanessa, I was never afraid of it.
Hmm.
Uh,
Mm.
I mean,
I
I was afraid though. Don't get me wrong. It's just I practiced and honed my abilities so that I wouldn't be as like afraid. Like if a door handle, which it recently happened to me, if a door handle moves or a door opens, now I get excited
Yeah,
because now I'm
Vanessa's
like,
talking to it.
yeah, now I'm gonna say, hey, what's up? What do you need help with? Like, but
Mm.
at least I have more skills that I know what to do now. You know what I
right,
mean? So it makes sense when people don't know. And of course, they go
Yeah.
to the most scariest thing in their head because
Yeah.
I mean, it's the unknown, right? So it makes sense why you would be hesitant. But I would even say that even those things that were moving stuff around, sometimes they just do it to be a nuisance. So you get out of there. So you are scared. Not that they are scary.
Yeah.
They just want you to leave their space, you know?
right.
So
No,
keep
that's true. That's
yeah.
very true.
So keep it in mind, just for our listeners, like some of these things are intentionally trying to scare you because they're scared. They don't want you to kick them out or they don't, so sometimes that's the occurrence. And also, Danny, I want to say, because I know we're about to end, but I think the reason why Eddie's coming back is the twins are a light bulb. Just putting that out there. Your nephew's twin.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
the reason why. So
Because he never was able to see his grandkids.
yeah, so
They
I
weren't
guarantee the
they
kids are
weren't
just
even
light
born.
bulbs
Yeah.
in general, though, you know. So
Yep.
and then you get twins, which are in my belief system, they are a same soul kind of way. If they're identical, you know. So
It's like kids and pets.
yeah,
You know,
That's
they're the
true.
most sensitive to a
Yes.
lot of that stuff. So
yeah.
Exactly. Well, Danny, again, thank you for joining us on tonight's show. Incredible stories, and you've lived and is living an incredible life to be able to talk to and interact with these entities. And as you know, we know it's not all horror and and
Right.
fear. Sometimes these entities can come and give you messages and signs and things that you need to hear at times. And so it's hard to tell, between the two.
Yeah.
It can get pretty hard in that regard. But yeah, so if you guys have any stories you want to share, please share them. That would be amazing. Ladies, anything else for tonight?
No, I just want to say thanks so much, Danny, for sharing because I do want people to feel more confident in sharing these stories because there is a lot more of us out there who have these experiences than some people want to talk about because they are afraid of being labeled something. But I truly believe all of us have abilities, some stronger than others, and you can develop those. So hit us up, tell us what's going on, what happened to you. We want to know. We will validate you. Believe me. I have had my own, so I totally understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
No.
we all actually have. So that's another interesting thing about our show. Everyone
Yes,
has had
we have.
an
Yeah.
experience.
Well, I just want to repeat or reiterate too. Thank you, Danny. Those were really very, very interesting experiences that you've gone through. And I have a feeling that's not going to be the end of it. And I hope
Mhm.
that you come back and you give us updates on what other things are going on because it's been really fascinating.
Yes, that
sure.
would be incredible. Anything else, Danny?
well, thank you, the three of you, very much for allowing me to come on and communicate with those who will not think I'm crazy.
Right.
Of course, when I share this on social media, that maybe not, everybody will think I'm crazy. But yes, that you have to figure it out. I guess the key is to not be afraid. Figure out what the issue is. Uh, like you kind of said, Vanessa, don't. It's okay to be, scared, but they may not be trying to scare you. It
Right.
might be scary, but and it's. I guess if I had to say anything, it would be trust your gut.
100%.
Because if you feel a certain way or you have a premonition and you think, nah, whether it comes down from what you do or what you want to wear to work that day, and you go to grab it and you say, nah, trust your gut. And that'll help you if anybody out there has had experiences like I have
100%. I
to
totally agree.
accept things and move on, so
Well said. Well said. Again, thank everyone for appearing on tonight's show. Danny, sir, thank you so much. Anything on social media that you want to, the public to know as far as your group, where
Yeah,
you
the
perform,
music.
any of that good stuff?
you can find out about me by going to the quick link. uh, Danny Coleman's Rock on Radio. The quick link is dcror.com. And same thing on Instagram at Rock On Radio, all one word, all capital letters. If you go to the website, you'll see everything. I've got my chubby little thumbs
Yeah,
in.
I'm sure we'll have something come up on the screen for all the listeners too to have a
Yes.
visual of. So
And it will be in the
Thank
show
you guys
description.
so much.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And on that, we are out.
Darkness Radio is the last thing